It is Wednesday night again. This is the Wednesday night mouse party. I'm Dan Foss, and tonight we have Guns and Barbecue. How's it going?
It is going quite all right. Thank you for the invite. Got to say, I was a little perturbed earlier. I stumbled onto a OnlyFans account where it said DM Foss, and some things were getting shoved into a mousetrap that would just make you cringe. Know anything about this, Foss?
It was not me.
Oh, thank God.
It was not
I
me.
figured it and say the things getting shoved in there were about the size of a rat. So
Yeah, I don't take the cheese. Giz or Gary, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. You know how I always tell people to give them the bird? Well, I'm thinking about changing that up to give them the mouse because, that they get more value out of the mouse, I think.
Oh, let's not overpromise there. And Hillbilly, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, brother. Doing good. Glad to be here.
I'm glad that you are here. Let me get the banner going since I remembered. At the bottom of the screen is an email address, untacticalfuss@gmail.com, and a link for the Discord server. What's a Discord server, you might ask? It's a place to hang out, chit chat, talk to each other, share pictures, memes, scorn, and whatnot. You can get a hold of me there, or through the email address. You can send in comments, suggestions, or pictures within reason. And if you watch this in replay, leave a comment. Whatever we talk about, agree with, disagree with, think we left out, let me know. I read all the comments, and they are always appreciated. And I think that's all the stuff I'm supposed to say. So far out there, Vulcan Rumble, Hillbilly Up, Gizzard Gary, Mr. Bob Dabalina. And I think that's everybody that said anything. It might be everybody that's out there. So I know that Clover is out there also. So everybody's probably watching Clover, getting their 22 fix in. But
see, now you said the secret word.
No, he's not going to come in here. He doesn't come on my chats. I did my first paracord bracelet for my daughter.
Nice.
It's my first one, so kind of getting used to how it works, and pretty okay, not perfect. And then I just did a simple knot for the closure, so she wouldn't have to deal with a buckle or nothing. So
nice.
I don't know.
Ain't you just crafty? I tell you.
Well, I've never done paracord, but I have done leather, like for horses and stuff.
Yeah.
And with it, like, I don't know if it makes any difference, but you always strap it onto something and you pull as you're braiding and weaving. You keep, like, you do it and you pull it tight. You do it, you pull it tight. You keep it pulled tight. Because I'm asking for myself. Would you do paracord the same way? I know.
Basically, as I kind of started, I realized that it's the same as anything you weave.
It's
macrame, leather.
Yeah.
Because that's what when I was thinking about it, because I was gonna just do a board with a nail in it. You can buy things to hold, but it doesn't need to be anything fancy to hold it in place while you're working. And that's what I've seen lots of like people weaving leather, for like belts or stuff, or even whips. When they weave the leather for whips, they'll have a board on the wall and then tie it off at the top, and then so they have something to pull against. This I just did it freehand while I was sitting at the computer. It took me about an hour. I took my time, and it made, along the way, kind of made a few mistakes, and then I had to undo a knot or two and back up. And then for the end knot, I wanted to do a diamond knot, but I had made it too long. So when I shortened it, it kind of screwed up the diamond knot, but I wasn't too worried about that. I don't know. Overall, it's not hard, really not very hard. And yeah, I had a YouTube video pulled up so I could refer to it if when I got lost or not. But
I think it
Yeah, I've
looks
got
really
the
cool.
one I used to learn. I saved it in my watch later playlist on YouTube so I can go back to it.
and I want to get oh god, now I'm just blanking on the needle. So you can go in and then add in accents. It's the needle that you use for like baseball
Crochet.
gloves.
Macrame.
Because it's a hollow needle, so you shove your paracord in the end, and they use them to do baseball mitts, to lacing needle to lace
Okay,
up the
yeah.
gloves.
Hmm.
But I want to try different designs and see what I can do. Oh,
You'd be selling these things one of these days.
probably not. I bought some buckles that have a compass and flint and a steel all built into them, and so I figure I might make some with some different designs, and then when we do giveaways, I'll give them away with the stickers and patches and stuff. But
How many
yeah.
how many feet of paracord do you think you use for that?
For this, it's 2 strands, a pink and a dark. It's dark blue. I ended up with probably about 1.5 foot extra because I wasn't sure how long, so I made sure I had more than I would need, and I think I had 6 feet of each because I just measured my arm length, which is about 6 feet from fingertip. So probably about 4.5 to 5 feet in that.
Oh, nice.
Well, per color. So
Per color.
about 8 total.
Sounds about right.
And this one's a small one because her wrist is only like, that much around.
It takes way more cord than you'd think.
Yeah, that's what because most of the tutorials will say like 10 feet. And I knew I wouldn't need 10 feet because I'm making a slightly smaller one, but if I do, the more I do, then the more I can kind of get accustomed to, so I don't have as much overage, so I'm not wasting as much paracord. Vulcan Rumble said, if you tighten it by boiling the paracord after it's done, or after, don't know how much shrinkage will occur. I don't know. But it's the kind of thing, I can't say that it is super enjoyable. I liked doing it, and I like being done with, if I made something. So, and I want to try more. So I don't know. I'll kind of get into stuff like, in high school, I did needlepoint. I had hoops and all that. Got into that for a while.
Cool. What I like that's cool about paracord is, whatever, if it's a keychain or something on your duffel bag or your backpack or whatever, if you get out in a situation and, you just need to, make a cord from one tree to the other, that throw up some shelter or whatever case might be. I just think it's so cool that, you have 6 foot or 8 foot of it or whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
DJ Play Nice is out there. He said there's strand calculator for that kind of thing, like foot per inch conversion. That would be helpful. Yeah, I had also yesterday. Was it yesterday? The day before that, my wife had mentioned that this kitchen sink had backed up when the dishwasher ran, which I had seen it do that before. So I wasn't too worried about it, but then it turned out to be a clog. And, it was somewhere after the trap. And I have a drain snake, but I think I need a new one because it doesn't feed out properly. It's got a crank and then it'll feed it out and twist, but it doesn't always feed out properly. And so I couldn't get it to go down the drain. And because of the air gap for the dishwasher, I couldn't plunge it. It's like, wow, crap. And there is a clean out down there in the pipes, but I couldn't get the bung off it. And I was afraid to twist too hard because I didn't want to break the pipe.
Yeah, plastic on plastic, I'm sure. And yeah, it's always scary.
So I ended up just I ran out and got some drain cleaner, emptied, took the P-trap off, emptied all that out, and then just dumped most of that. I bought like a gallon, probably put 2/3 of it in there. And it did end up clearing the clog. I don't know how long it took. I watched it it's supposed to be like 10 minutes, but it took a lot longer than that. And I went to bed. When I got up later, it was clear. So
yeah,
luckily it worked.
There's a home recipe. I'm trying to think what it is. Is it baking soda and something? I don't remember, but
vinegar.
Yeah, like when you pour it down there, like it literally starts bubbling. I mean,
Oh, I still need to go because when we bought the house, it had the double sink, and I don't like the double sinks. I like the single. So when I switched it to a single sink, the connection between the two sinks was on the right side. So the left side sink hooked into the right side, came down and then across. And then, so when it goes down to the pipe that goes to the wall, that connection is on the right side. Well, the single sink has the drain on the left side. So I've got kind of a long, comes down and then has to go over to where the old piping used to be. I need to cut that off and then redo it so it's all on the right side and I'll have that long run. But kind of did the homeowner special and made it work with the pipes that were there.
Yeah.
Probably will end up cutting it and then fixing it so it's the way it should be. But I don't know. It's kind of one of those things that, it's like I said, everything works for right now, so don't touch it.
We had a problem with ours, basically this kitchen dishwasher. And couldn't find out, we actually had a plumber come out with a powered snake, blah, 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 after I tried to hand snake it. And we ended up figuring out it was a vent problem. And so I literally just drilled a hole through the wall, to the exterior wall, and put another vent right there under our sink, and it took care of it. We've not had any trouble since then, knock on wood.
And Volker and Rumble said Coca-Cola works too. I've seen lots of videos where, people use Coke to do all kinds of stuff. Cleaning battery terminals and toilets.
Staying up many hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe I've seen the state patrol use it to get blood off the highway.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You're going to end up with ants. That's how you get ants. DJ said polishing chrome. Yeah, I've seen that. Oh, I don't like Coca-Cola. I don't like Pepsi either, but
How about Dr. Pepper?
I
That work?
I really do like Dr. Pepper.
Absolutely.
I used to love Mountain Dew. I was a Mountain Dew addict. Now it just doesn't taste the same to me. I still do drink it now and again, but I just don't like it like I used to.
Oh yeah, I used to do the Dew.
I liked the regular Mountain Dew, and I liked the live wire, the orange flavor, and then Code Red was probably number 3. And I don't like any of the other, like Baja Blast or any of those flavors. It all tastes like melted gummy bears to me.
They had a sangria one I fell in love with, and then they took it away, and I don't like Mountain Dew ever since. They made me mad when they took away the sangria.
They should try a chicken flavor. That'd be pretty good.
It probably would. The Pitch Black wasn't bad either. Not the greatest, but I mean, of all the variations they've made, it wasn't terrible. Although I don't really like regular Mountain Dew, so.
I used to have there is somebody that would make, they could either do I think it was a biplane or a ship, a sailboat. You bring them the cans, and then I think it was like $20. This was back early 90s. It was just somebody put up a sign at the barbershop. So I gave them a bunch of Mountain Dew cans. So I had this big, looked like a schooner or something made out of Mountain Dew cans. They would cut them in the shapes they needed, kind of flatten them out. The sails were curved, so it was really cool. I don't remember whatever happened to that.
That sounds cool.
I always thought the planes and stuff made out of pop cans like that were really cool. I always wanted one.
I remember in the 70s when the crocheted hats with the beer cans.
Oh yeah.
It was cool.
Definitely remember those. And then, of course, you had to have a pop top necklace go with it.
Vulcan Rumble said citric acid dissolves grease. I use for cleaning the washer. I'll use a little bit of baking soda, citric acid, and because that's basically what those the cleaner tabs that you can buy to clean your dishwasher or clothes washer. That's basically what they are. So I just bought a big bag of citric acid, and I forget what the measurements on it are, but a little bit of baking soda, some of the citric acid, and then run a cycle. That helps kind of keep your washer clean. Vulcan Rumble had asked, have you ever made a rifle sling? No, I have not made a rifle sling. Oh, there's a pinned at the top of the chat is a link for this week's poll. We'll take a look at that in just a minute here.
Awesome. And I actually bought a paracord rifle sling. I really enjoy it. Now, I don't know if I'd enjoy it if I was carrying the rifle for a long distance, because it is kind of stiff and not very wide. I think after a while it might get a little pressure pointy, I guess you could say, if that's a word.
I could kind of see it cutting into your shoulders a little.
But just for short little walks, it's very enjoyable.
Have a good night, DJ. Oh, so I guess we can look at the poll here. There it is. So this week's poll, whoops. When you drive to the store, do you park close to the store, park away from other cars so you don't get dense, park where it's convenient, I don't drive, or you would have to ask my chauffeur? And 35% said park away from other cars so I don't get dense. 29% park wherever is convenient. 24% park close to the store. 7% I don't drive, and 5% you would have to ask my chauffeur.
You would have thought that Tawanda would have been on that list too.
Michigan, for conservative, I try to park next to the cart return corral. One side of the vehicle is protected, and besides, the lazy, inconsiderate people avoid these areas. I park next to the cart return if my daughter's with me. So when we, come out of the store and she's in the cart, we're right next to the car. Boomstick Mark 5. I have an old ambulance. I just turn on the lights and park in the fire lane. Makes it convenient. The stretcher comes in handy for carrying lumber, hot water tanks, etc. The goddamn bacon said, bold of you to assume I don't simply have the store drive to me. Chris Lang, I'm the dude that pulls up, blocks the pump door wide open, bass cranked to 10 so everyone for 2 miles can hear my shit chopped. Screwed nonsense. That. Oh, wait, definitely ain't me. Tim Allen, I park next to the cart return corral. Makes it easier to return the cart and usually makes my lazy self walk a little farther. Ron Wayne, I usually can't find a place and have to resort to parking like Mahoney from Police Academy. New York Outcast, it's 50-50 depending on the place, store, and crowd. I hit number 1, but not worried about another small scratch. Vanessa Kitty, handicap spot is if one is open. Mick Willie, I park in the back 40. The exercise is good for me. And Guns and Barbecue, I had to get a chauffeur. Never made it to the store. I would always abruptly stop at the scene of the crash. I consistently beat the paramedics by 15 minutes.
It's a pretty good record.
If I'm by myself, I'll park kind of more where it's convenient, where it's easy to get in and out of. I'm not worried about being, as close as possible to the store. Like I said, if my daughter's with me, then I'll usually park by the cart returns. But I don't mind walking a little bit.
I get annoyed, like if I go to the store with my mother because for some reason she has to park close, and she's one of those people that'll drive around the parking lot 4 times at Walmart, and I'm like, just park. We could have been inside the store and gotten stuff already.
Oh, and Hillbilly said it depends on if I'm driving a classic car or the old wood truck. Yeah, I don't drive round and around looking for parking spots. I want to get in and get out.
Is it just me, or is it ironic that the Mouse Man just referenced a rap song?
I did not realize I did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I know that one.
Oh,
I
yes, round
got
and
it.
round. Check it out.
Round and round.
Well, that's not. Did you say rat song or rap song?
Rat.
Rap.
Oh, I thought you said rap song. RAP.
Oh, no.
It's like, I don't know.
RATT.
I gotcha. I was not a rat fan. I do know what song you're talking about. But I don't know, I wasn't into any of that up through high school. Kind of after high school, that's when I kind of got into like Guns N' Roses and stuff. But up until then, it was all either classic rock or oldies. That's what I listened to. That's what my friends listened to also.
Or Slim Whitman. Yeah.
Hey, he did help repel the Martian invasion. Slim Whitman. Oh, Gary probably hasn't seen that movie. Mars Attacks.
I'm gonna have to now.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you a little bit there, Foss. Like we was listening to stuff like Skinner and Dr. Hook, and even back in the 50s stuff, but then after I got out of school, then kind of broadened my horizon a little bit.
I mean, I didn't even really listen to like Hendrix until when I lived with my friend Chris. He had a bunch of Hendrix CDs, and I started listening to that, and I still started really liking Hendrix. I think I stole one of his CDs. I think I have one of his CDs. It wouldn't have been on purpose. I think it accidentally, but yeah, there aren't any, at least around here. It's hard to find a good oldies especially oldies. There was one really good oldie station that I had set in my car, and when I traded in my car, I couldn't remember what the station was, so it's lost forever.
It's too bad they don't have a place that you could look up information like that.
I tried. I can't find it.
Well, back in the day, there wasn't even internet, so
that's what I love about Apple Music. It's like if I'm in the mood for like 60s music, I can just tell Siri to play 60s music, and she knows what I'm talking about.
I don't know.
You get to be on the road for 10, 12-hour stretches. It's like you don't want to listen to the same thing all day. After a while, it's like
Amazon Music works kind of the same, pretty much. So
yeah, I used to use that before I got Apple Music. Yeah.
My wife listens to the Amazon Music. I don't. I don't know. I'm kind of.
Some people like XM Sirius. It's kind of expensive to me.
That's why I've never had it. I didn't want to pay for it.
Well, the main reason we got the Amazon once we started getting Alexas, but my wife was paying for something else for her phone. So, like when she goes jogging or walk the dogs or whatever, and then I think I had something different. I'm trying to remember what it was. And once I learned, I'm like, well, with Amazon Music, you can add up to several devices. So we'll just get rid of everything because the other ones you had to pay for extra devices. So we're like, we'll just get rid of everything, just use the Amazon. And so that's kind of the route we went and why we went that way.
I don't have Alexa. I don't have Siri. I refuse to talk to my electronic devices. I won't do it. Won't do it.
Understandable.
Well, they have buttons.
Mr. Bob said most newspapers have a list of local radio stations in their entertainment section. Almost all the radio stations are streaming now too.
It's true.
Yeah.
There is the one I usually listen to is a local one, and they do a pretty good job. The KZOK used to be the really good classic rock station until they got bought by, I think iHeart Radio bought them. Now it's the same songs every day at the same time every day.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, like, I don't listen to as much as I used to, but I used to listen to Bob and Tom a lot. Well, for me to hear it on my local station, I want to say it started like at 6 and it went 4 hours or whatever. But, you know, I found out through streaming, I can listen to, like, actually the station I listen to is out of Fresno, California. Well, it starts 2 hours later there, so it goes to like 11 or 12. So I can catch Bob and Tom the same show later on, 2 hours later. And so it's really cool that this is available to us,
I did for a little while. I was listening to was it out of San Francisco? It was God, one of the old VJs from MTV. That she's doing kind of a classic rock. I think it was classic rock. I listened to her show for a little while and then just kind of I think I forgot about it.
Not Martha Quinn.
I don't remember who it was. I can't even remember who it was now. But yeah, because the only other time would be so I could listen to Washington State football games. Is the station out of Pullman where WSU is. I could listen to it through them.
Well, there's one time like I could tune in and listen to the Chiefs, Kansas City announcer, and I just turned the volume down on the TV. But then now they don't let them live broadcast online. You can listen to it on the radio, but not online.
Wonder why not?
I don't know. They quit it, I don't know, a few years back.
I don't know. Maybe something happened, and
Yeah, I'm sure
got 'em in trouble.
licensing or whatever, but yeah, I can listen on a local radio station, but I can't listen to it online. Same radio station.
That's because the NFL is licensing all that stuff now, and they're getting part of the fees for the broadcast, just like the TV. They're getting into the radio now too. Seriously.
Oh, yeah, for the Seahawks, they sell out every game, so there's never a blackout. That would suck if you markets that don't sell out normally, so you can't listen to it.
Well, I believe even the Chiefs, though, don't they black out some of the stations, though, Gary, on TV or on cable or something? Regardless.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think they do.
I mean, they shouldn't because, yeah, like, you can say all their games are sellouts. So.
Because, well, we run into the problem. See, I think it wasn't on satellite or whatever. If you was close, like they thought you were close enough to pick it up on local TV, then they would black out the satellite or cable because they wanted you to use the local.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Black Cat Outdoors said between Amazon, Spotify, and YouTube, I haven't listened to an actual radio station in years.
I listen to our local station just when I'm riding around town. It's an oldies. It's a classic rock format, so it's usually pretty good for a small market radio station. It's actually pretty entertaining. So I'm lucky.
We have a local station out of Springfield that actually on a Sunday evening, they go, like, I forget how many years back they are, but every Sunday evening they do the American Top 40 Countdown replay. And so it'll be like, 19 whatever, this date. And then the next one will be the following date, just like it was back in the day. And I mean, we actually, if we're outside and stuff, a lot of times we'll just turn it on and listen to it because it's like, it just brings back, fun memories for me and my wife as when we were growing up.
There was a station somewhere, I don't remember what station it was, but Sunday nights they would play the old radio shows, like The Shadow and the old radio dramas and stuff like that. I would listen to that at night.
Oh, cool.
I think there's YouTube channels dedicated to that now.
Yeah, there are. That stuff is cool to listen to for sure.
I got to listen to the classic rock local station recently, and they played Nickelback, How You Remind Me, and Linkin Park, Crawling. And I was like, shit, does that make me officially old?
Yeah. Well, that's what the KZOK back in the 90s, mid to late 90s ish, they started saying it doesn't have to be old to be a classic. So bands or singers, that had, were in the classic rock era, but still made songs after that, they would play their newer stuff. That was kind of when they started going downhill.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Talking about Nickelback, I watched a few things of theirs on YouTube about they were the first or basically like one of the first meme bands where people started putting out memes. The internet was coming out, memes are coming out, and like they're talked about having to go through all that, as a band, and it was actually pretty funny to watch. And they just kind of rolled with the punches on it.
Woods at KZOK is still my station. KZOK has been around forever. So I remember in the 70s as a kid, they were around back then. They're not, I will say they are not as good as they used to be, but It just might be, sign of the times. That's just the way it is now. Do you like the? I don't like the kind of morning drive or afternoon drive talk on classic rock stations. I don't know what KZOK has now, but they used to have their Danny Bonaducci was on there, had a morning show. Danny and I forget what co-host name was, but it other than his kind of crazy stories, because he has some crazy 70s stories. Growing up as an actor.
Yeah, and he's done some crazy things in his life too.
Yeah. But I just don't care for the chit chat. I did like Robin and Maynard, their show, but they were kind of like an old married couple, but they weren't married. They were just co-hosts, but they worked that well. But for the most part, I just want to listen to music. I don't want to listen to talking. What's that?
I don't know.
KISW Can Kick Rocks. It's the other classic rock station.
Now, like, I love listening to music, don't get me wrong, but sometimes I find myself as I get older listen to more like, podcast and talk stuff. Not necessarily like news, but just actually I really don't listen to the news stuff, but I do feel like I'm listening to more and more of it, talk radio type stuff.
Are you listening to NPR?
No.
I do. I will. Most of the time I'm driving, like to work, it's only like a 10-minute drive. Or if I'm going to the store, I'm a mile from the store. So yeah, I'm just listening to the radio. If I'm driving like to the gun shop, that's how long is that? A half an hour drive? Is it more? I don't know, half hour. I don't remember. I can't. But so I'll usually put on a YouTube chat and I'll listen to that for the drive. And we don't really drive anywhere anymore. But because other than that, it would be I would listen to my iPod. So I'm listening to music. And I know people that like the paid services. I just don't want to pay for the service. Vulcan Rumble said news is so slanted I have to listen to foreign news podcasts. And Black Cat said I'm listening to you guys on my way to work.
Yeah, that's how boring XM gets. It might be a bias, for being a former truck driver, and I'm sure Black Cat will attest to this. But listening to Sirius XM, you'll go batshit crazy after about a month because they just play the same thing all month, and then the next month they might cycle out like a quarter of the songs and bring you something new, but 3/4 it's the same crap, and it stays like that all year. And they just keep recycling and just putting in some new ones every month and taking out a couple. It gets nauseating.
That's the way the music at work is. It's through the satellite, and I can't. It's DMX. I think we have DMX. So it's the same songs. It's a 3-hour loop. So it's the same song twice a day, every day, and then every so often they'll change out a song, put in a new song. But so I for most of my shift, since I'm alone, I listen to my MP3 player. Got a little speaker that clips on, so I can listen to what I want to listen to.
Now, has it gotten to a point? Do they scramble the songs, or is it the same one after another?
It's the same one. It's
so no shuffle or anything. That's awful.
Blackhead said, "Yep, I had XM before in the truck. Modern streaming killed it for me." Well, didn't it used to be? I've never had it, but didn't it used to be just music, and then now there's like some talking in there, either announcing songs or commercials or something.
There's commercials and crap too, which is one thing that annoys me because it's like commercial free bull crap. Every friggin' station on XM has commercials, and it's like listening to a regular radio. I mean, granted, the commercial break isn't as long as a traditional FM radio station, but there's still commercials.
Oh, it's but with the radio stations, it's the same as TV stations. It's other than the few independents that are out there. They're owned by like, what is it, 4, 6 corporations own like all the news, all the radio stations, TV stations. That's why when you see there's supercuts out there of stations from across the country, and the reporters are saying the exact same thing because they're all owned by the same company, word for word, the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that creeps me out is when you see that, and they even have the same cadence and everything. I mean, it's like everything is just animatronic robots.
I mean, literally reading off the teleprompter.
Well, I mean, that's their job. But, I mean, like I said, the cadence to it all, when they mash up like 50 of them and they're going the exact same, I'm just like, oh, that's just creepy.
Well, we had a job one winter. This would have been, I don't know, back in the mid-90s or whatever. And it was like a 3-month job. We did a lot of dynamiting. And so we just had like some backhoes and loaders over there, and we were just digging this stuff out. Well, in that area, because we live in the hills and stuff, there's one radio station you can pick up. And so, like, as for cell phones, like if you just had a radio on, radio earbuds or, the headphone set, or, like the backhoe, like it was closed cab. So you had like a radio in there. You listen to the same radio station all day long. And my goodness, the commercials played over, same commercial played, a set of commercials played over and over and over and over again, drove a person crazy. And actually, songs were repeated a lot. And I never realized it because I didn't, wasn't just listening to the radio only for that length of a time, day in and day out. And it is terrible.
Black Cat said commercials and randomly lose signals in places too, all for the money. Then all paid services combined cost. I don't know anyone who still has XM. Noir detective stories, Johnny Dollar, Sam Spade, Philip Marlowe, Dragnet, etc. on podcasts. That's Wood said that.
I
Mr.
know
Bob?
a lot of people.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
was just
You
going
can
to say, I know a lot of people that still have XM, but they all drive cars.
Snob does.
See?
Mr. Bob said KBDZ is an area station that streams classic rock albums, rock from the 70s. They're independent and they play tunes we used to have to bribe the DJs with herbal offerings to hear. A nice sprig of rosemary would get you an album side of Gypsy or Star Castle.
So I just had a scary thought. One, like, there's the only thing I've liked about XM was they had the Prime Country station, which played country from the 80s and 90s. It was awesome. But like locally, we don't have a classic country station. They only play modern country that comes out of Nashville, and it's all dog shit. But then I had a thought, like, what if there was a classic country station in my area in like 10 years? And now knowing what I know, like with Nickelback and Linkin Park being considered classic rock, which I'm not disagreeing with, like fine, but it scares the shit out of me that something like friggin' Florida Georgia Line could end up classic country soon. And oh my god, I've got to get a time machine and go back and write some things.
Vulcan Rumbles, Bluetooth from my cell phone does everything. Oh, it's,
Is Vulcan Rumble really far back in the chat where you're talking about how you don't talk to your electronics?
I took it to be just connecting his phone to his car,
Oh, okay.
to his radio. That is one convenience that I do like. Modern convenience is being able to connect my phone to, or my iPod to my radio, so I can listen to music or listen to live streams, or even just with, I use Google Maps. So when I've got I have both the Android Auto and whatever the Apple Auto version is. Both are built in, but I don't have any Apple products. But so for like the Google Maps, then it'll show up on my gauges right in front of me. I don't have the navigation in mind, but so it'll show on my speedometer, and it'll just give me an arrow showing me what direction the next turn is, and then there's a bar graph to represent distance. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it'll do turn by turn also, so it'll tell me the turns coming up. But I don't remember if it does or not, because when I plug my phone in with a USB, once you get driving, it turns off your phone screen for safety, so you're not looking at your phone screen. And I can't remember if it does the turn by turn that way, or if I do it through Bluetooth, then it'll do. I'm not sure. I don't remember, but it's nice to be able to hook stuff up to the car. It's a lot more convenient. So I used to have a Garmin, get one of the smaller ones, GPS, and that worked fine until it stopped kind of working fine. It wouldn't update. I had lifetime updates, paid for lifetime updates, and then it just kind of stopped updating. So and then that's kind of when the Google Maps and stuff started coming into their own. So I didn't really need the Garmin anymore. It was kind of nice. You could change the little avatar. So you can make it a little car, so you can see your little car driving, or I changed it to a vulture. So, you see a vulture flapping its wings on its way.
I did not know this till just recently. My youngest daughter had told me, but like her car's, fairly new. And it has like, if somebody text message you, like it shows up on the screen,
Yeah.
and you can hit the button and answer back, like talk back text, and just all this stuff, navigation, the whole 9 yards. And I was like, man, I'd like to get something like that from Old Truck. She goes, oh, you can. I'm like, what, like a Garmin or something? She goes, no, literally, you can get pretty much exactly what's in a new car. It comes in a unit, and like you mount it on your dash or whatever, and it does everything these new cars do. I'm like, you're kidding me. And she pulled it up, and yeah, they weren't outrageous either.
Yeah, my daughter bought a replacement radio for her Nissan, and yeah, it does practically everything my Jeep will do now.
Yeah, well, this is not even a radio. It's like you can just mount it wherever, and it's a decent sized screen. And yeah, I was totally amazed. I'm like, I'll be dang, man. I did not know that.
There's all kinds of cool stuff for older cars you can do. Like radios, basically they're like hidden. So your display looks like the stock radio, but all, if you had the CD player or DVD player, it's all hidden up under the dash.
Mm-hmm.
Black Cat, my phone has replaced my MP3 player, XM, DVD player, GPS, etc. in the truck for me. It's so much simpler to have the one device. It is. That's kind of the way I've moved to, and it's even with YouTube. I'm doing a lot more just with my phone instead of taking my camera out. It just because it's so convenient. It doesn't. I don't get. The camera has a better lens, so I can change out the lenses and stuff. So there's different options with my camera, but just being able to, just carry my cell phone, or if I'm doing just a tabletop, I don't have to do the whole setup with my big camera. Vulcan Rumble said, I tried installing fancier head units, but they're not fast enough. Not sure in which way they're not fast enough. Is it just like the Bluetooth connection isn't fast enough, or what? Yeah, and my Mitsubishi I replaced the head unit so I could get DVD player and Bluetooth and all those functions. And it was nice because it had better reception too than the stock radio. And then there's little chips you can buy. So, because with the stock setup, you could only watch the DVD player when you're in park, but you can buy the little bypass chip so you can have it run, whenever you want. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there shouldn't be a super chat button there, Barbecue. I don't know. Well, I would say I don't know what you're looking at, but I know you're not looking at anything.
That might have been that darn glory hole again. They got me again. Son of a.
Oh, you must have clicked on the porn ad that runs sometimes.
Happens.
Yeah.
If you stop allowing the smell-o-vision, I wouldn't find it.
Well, that's built into YouTube. I don't have a choice on that.
Here I am thinking I'm about to click on something for Deadliest Catch.
Yeah, you didn't want to see what they caught.
Well, it's deadly, all right.
We all had crabs. It was awesome.
Vulcan Rebel said, my cell phone has been plugged into my TV and I'm watching you on a 42-inch TV. Car LCD and head unit screen process has a 7-second delay. Wow. It's kind of a long delay.
Yeah, just a little bit. Like, my goodness.
Yeah, I will say that now that I have joined the somewhat modern age, I was against the smart TVs and all that. And I think we talked about it a couple chats ago where I dumped the satellite and then since I had a Roku TV, switched to Roku because for the satellite, I was paying like $1,500 a year for the service for channels we weren't watching anyways. And switching to Roku, it's like $300 a year. So
That's new gun money right there.
Oh yeah. And I will tell you, I don't know like in the areas that you are, but where I live, I just live in the dang mountains. I mean, the closest big town from me is Springfield, Missouri, and it's around 70 miles away. And Arkansas would be like Fayetteville, and it's a good 80 to 100. A regular digital antenna, I have around 70 some stations, and some of them, a lot of them's retro stations, so like you can watch old shows and all that. And then I literally bought the DVR, and it's like $150. And then you buy it and you're good. But if you want to record stuff, it's $3 a month, and you have to have internet, to actually record onto your DVR. And so literally $180 digital antenna and $150 DVR, and then we pay basically $3 or $4 a month, and we get a lot of stations, all of our local news, weather, plus a bunch of other stations and
Do you have a indoor or outdoor antenna?
outdoor.
Okay. Yeah, because I've tried the indoor antenna and I can get like one PBS station.
Well, the outdoor one, I just kind of like watched some videos on YouTube and did some research and, picked like the middle of the line, and then you can pull up an app on your phone and it tells you exactly, it's got like a compass on it and it shows you where the stations are. And like you go out
Yeah.
there with your phone, you lay it down and, flat and like you just tune it in to whatever and it shows the signal. You tighten it down and bam, like you got all kinds of stations and it's totally amazing. I really was blown away by it.
I've thought about, I had thought about doing outdoor antenna, but I didn't want to deal with an outdoor antenna.
Well, the good thing about the digital, your old airways had to do with height, because you had airways like so many feet, blah blah blah, so you could even raise or lower your antenna to get better signal, not only turn it. Well, like my antenna is like 6 foot off the ground. All you got to do is have a clear direction sight, like no trees in the way. That's all you need. Like you literally can mount it on the side of your house if you have wherever you need to point it at, as long as you don't have trees or something in the way. You just need the clear direction. And and it seems like tilting it up or down a little bit don't really matter a whole lot. So I was amazed with it. It really blew my mind how easy it was.
At our old house, I had made a couple different antennas, wrap the wires and did a couple different designs. Was able to pick up like 5 channels, I think, something like that. But it was kind of disappointing that when I realized that like a 2-inch piece of coat hanger I could plug into the socket and get the same amount of channels as the fancy antennas that I spent so much time making. Yeah, I would look at what site was that? Can't remember what the site was. But they had all kinds of different antennas and fancy ones, and would look through there. And because I bought where we used to live, we tried to go with just cell phones, not have a landline. But our service was so streaky. Basically, the signal there was a long straight road, and then we lived kind of 90 degrees from that, and the signal, I think I figured out, the signal would come down that road, kind of bounce off the trees, and then come to us. So when the trees would move, we'd lose signal. So I tried getting a repeater and an antenna and a repeater, and when you're getting half a signal and you're trying to strengthen half a signal, it helped when there was a signal, but then when the signal would be gone,
Talking about for your cell phones.
Yeah.
Now, it's kind of the same thing with that. We have an antenna outside the house up, by my roof, because we have a metal roof on our house. We cannot get phone signal inside our house, but it comes in, it goes to this machine or whatever. It's got a couple of antennas on it.
Yeah.
And full service, inside our house with that running. which kind of sucks. We lose electricity. Not only I lose internet, but then I can't even jump over to my phone, for internet.
Mr. Bob said, when the absence of G-Webs, I got to ask, what's the bracket tonight? There's no bracket tonight. I got it stuck in the mud. So I need to get my block and tackle out so I can get it out of the mud. It's stuck in there pretty deep. So the cable's kind of frayed on my block and tackle. So I need to get the cable patched and then get her winched out of the mud. Black Cat said, I haven't had a landline in a long time. Granted, nobody really calls me anyways, so it's kind of a moot point. We've got the voice over IP for our landline. And I do like getting calls. I just don't like getting a lot of calls. If I get a call every so often, it's like, oh, somebody called me. And then if I get like 3 calls, it's like, Jesus Christ, why won't they leave me alone?
So do you have the landline style answer machine?
No. We've got Vonage, so it's voicemail. I do have an external box that helps kill soliciting calls, robocalls.
Wow, that'd be nice.
It blocks most of them, and then if one happens to get through, there's just a button you hit, and it'll block that number in the future.
Wow.
And it's nice because it still allows the robocalls from the school for the kids. So it somehow can figure out the difference.
Oh, yeah.
Between the two.
That's nice. Well, the old actual answer machine for landlines, you'd always have to hit play and then delete and all that.
Yeah. Actually we do. It's built into the phone.
Oh yeah. Well, my uncle one time, he was out with the boys or whatever, and he's drinking, and he said, it's getting late, like 1 o'clock. So he's like, man, I want to call my wife and, let her know that I'm okay and still alive, and I'll be home, hopefully before daylight. And anyway, so he said he called, knew she was in bed. She wouldn't answer, but, was going to leave her a message. So he did. Said, he got home, late. It was on the weekend. Said he got up and around that afternoon, whatever, just messing around. He said he seen a flashing light there on his answer machine. So he went over there and hit it. And he knew it was him, but he couldn't understand anything he's saying. It's like, because he's drunk. And so he thought it was really funny. So he saved it. He didn't erase it. And so he played it for his wife, and they were laughing and all that. So anyway, he said the next weekend, or maybe it was 2 weekends or something, he was up late drinking with the boys, come home, and he seen, the light was flashing on the answer machine. Said he hit play, and he said he could understand every word that he said when he was drunk.
I
thought that was hilarious.
One of the cell phones I used to have, I would keep it in my front pocket and on my shirt, but it would dial my wife every so often, and it would, with me moving around, it's rubbing up against the fabric. But when my wife would get the call, it would sound like a heavy breather.
That's funny. Like, talk dirty to me.
My wife is not into that. Oh, there's always because I'll listen I'll usually listen to about half of Gary's chat while I'm getting ready for my chat. Listen to the replay, and there's always something that they talk about that I want to bring up, and I can never remember what it is. I just remember there was something, but I can't remember what that something was.
I'm trying to remember what we talked about other than Paul Harrell.
Oh yeah, I was going to mention the passing of Paul Harrell, which probably most people will know happened. I never knew him, never talked to him, but I did respect him and enjoyed his videos. Yeah, I don't remember what it was.
Was it McDonald's cheeseburgers?
It was something along that lines.
That's the only part of the show I got to catch, and that was kind of broken.
Yeah, we were talking about Big Macs and stuff like that. They're not as big as they used to be and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Need to bring back the big and tasty.
I'd like to find, like Gary is saying, like, well, really, your mom and pop places or the bar or bowling alley or whatever that actually hand pads a burger and throws it on, you actually get some meat. But most of these, franchise deals, like, there's not much meat left on the burger, and it's way more expensive than what it used to be.
My favorite burgers growing up were actually from Pee Wee Ballfield. They just had a grill top. They probably just never cleaned it, so you got all the flavors from everything else they ever cooked in the last 10 years. But for some reason, those burgers were my favorite. I thought they had the best flavor. And it was just that one ball field, Pee Wee Ballfield.
Well, go ahead, buddy.
I said, no, I want a hamburger.
When I had my restaurant open before the shutdown, it's mainly older people that come in and they're like, oh, this is really good coffee, which like I sampled like 200 probably different deals of coffee before I picked out like our coffee. We had a decaf, a medium, and a dark roast, and they weren't cheap. I mean, you really had to pay for quality to get good quality coffee. But people, I felt like were older than me, and I'm in my 50s, and they're like, man, that's some good coffee. I bet you don't wash your coffee pot. Your the thing like the coffee drips into. And I'm like, well, yeah, we wash it. They're like, for some reason, rinse it out, throw a little ice in there, swish it around, dump it. Some reason that coffee pot gives it the flavor. Like I had a lot of older people tell me that. And so maybe it's kind of the same deal with the grill.
Ooh, look who showed up.
I just woke up.
That's what I figured.
What did I miss?
Little this, little that. Baseball bat, wiffle ball bat. So I'm on the run. Cops has got my gun.
Little song, a little dance. Little seltzer in your pants.
Oh, I had showed at the beginning my paracord bracelet. Finally,
Oh, nice.
it's just I just used a knot so my daughter, my daughter's only 4, so she wouldn't have to worry about the buckle. So I don't know, fairly happy with it, but it's my first try, so there's definitely a little bit of improvement I could do. But
Yeah, the knot in the loop I think is better than a buckle personally. It's cooler.
Yeah. G-Web's is like, you sell those on Amazon?
Mr. Bob said, I'm getting upset with gun manufacturers lately. Every time I find something I really want, it's made in Turkey, like the Winchester SPX shotgun or Inglis GP35 color case hardened high power.
Turkey is putting out a lot of shotguns. They really are.
There are, yeah, that's been a bunch of ones where I'll see them and I think, it looks cool, and then it's made in Turkey. I don't know. I'm not big in the turkey.
I was surprised that one that bullpup that I bought. What was the name of that? It's made in Turkey, and it had the mag like an AR feed mag and all that. And I'm like, this thing's probably not going to be worth the crap, but I needed a shotgun to test that scope with, for heavy recoil. And that thing was doing like a 3-inch group at 50 yards with a slug. I was totally impressed. I was like, my goodness. I was really, I was totally surprised with it.
Vulcan Rumble. Later in the month, I'm going to my second gun show. I'm really looking forward to it.
Awesome. If I may ask, what did you think of your first gun show, Vulcan? And what were your takeaways from it?
Hopefully you took away a gun from it.
Or several. Anthem beef jerky.
Probably. Oh, go ahead, Gary.
I was going to say, and a less than premium Damascus knife probably made somewhere in Detroit.
Or Pakistan. I've had some Pakistani Damascus knives. They look nice.
Pakimascus, I believe, is what we called them things.
Yeah. They're affordable.
Yeah, made out of leaf springs too.
Gotta have that spring steel.
Probably go maybe next week when I get a chance. Goes by a Rough Rider. I kind of talked about the other day.
I like it.
Go up and then see if they've got one that I like, or if not, then I'll just have them order the one that I want. Because there's a case hardened one that I think looks nice. It's like $200.
Then you should get a barkeep after.
Yeah, I got the barkeep that looked case hardened. That was fun.
I like the barkeep more than I do my Rough Riders.
Me too.
Something about that barkeep is a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun for under $200. It just seems like you're ripping people off, man. It's like, man, I stole this.
Oh yeah.
I want it mainly just because, when I took Carrie Ann to the range for her first time shooting, the only 22 I had was the Keltec, and I would rather have a revolver than the Keltec. to use.
I forgot about that. Yep.
I mean, I had no, it ran fine, and I think I've only had twice where I've had a problem, but it could have just been ammunition problems. But it's a P17 and it's run fine, but I just would rather have for somebody, their very first time shooting a gun, would rather have the revolver than the semi-auto on the 22.
Yeah. Anytime I put somebody up very first shot, it's always one bullet, one shot, regardless.
Is usually we'll just start with 380 because recoil is light enough on a 380 that people don't have a problem with it. But with her, she was so nervous that I thought it was better to start, go back to 22. Christopher Reed is out there. Good evening. Good morning.
One of the reasons I like starting out with people with 22 is because, the pretty much no recoil.
Yeah.
And after they shoot a little bit, they get some confidence. Especially like in my situation, I can stick some pop cans or, hard seltzers down there and get a little bit of a reaction target for them. And they really enjoy that, And then once they get comfortable with that, then they're ready to step up,
Yeah, and it worked out. Is I like the indoor range because I can, I'll bring the targets in a little closer. That way, there's that satisfaction of I hit the target, and you can see at the outdoor range, it's a set distance. It's a little farther away, but I can go at times where I know there's probably not going to be anybody else out there. So we're all alone and there's no distractions, no noise from anybody else. But I can't, doing it at the ranges, I can't, it basically has to be a paper target.
Yeah, and I actually took, I did a video on it, but I took Tactical Thud. He made, basically a target standhouse and 2x4 and first strips.
Yeah.
And then I adjusted mine because I knew at Dollar General you could buy this basically styrofoam board. And you they were $1. You cut them in half, so it's only 50 cents, per deal. Then you put, staple a paper target, a sticker to it or whatever. And then the upper part just slides up out of there. So, you literally can stick in the trunk of a car. And I do like that because, like you said, if yes, a new shooter, you can move it up closer to them and they can literally see, where they're hitting at.
Oh yeah, and I went to the fair, the state fair, but for Woods, Puyallup Fair. I was disappointed this year. I have to say, there was kind of less stuff at the fair. Because usually we'll go, look at the animals, all the 4-H stuff, and then do like the expo and pavilion, and there'll be one of them will be whatever. This year it was art, which was kind of nice. They had a bunch of artwork, and then there'll be usually be like vegetable displays, and then you get all the vendor stuff, like as seen on TV kind of stuff, carnival barkers out there, mattresses, hot tubs, people trying to sell you new roofs. But there was
A lot of people trying to hawk 9mm in that situation.
Yeah, but there was like a, maybe a quarter less. There was no vegetable displays. There's like a quarter less of the vendors. So everything was a little more spread out. There weren't as many people there too, which later on in the day it did get busier. So I don't know, it just had a different feel.
You think there's fewer people growing vegetables and there's less people to show up, or just a bad year?
I don't know, because it was kind of weird not to have because I know they moved some of the, like the big pumpkins and stuff into the barns where there's usually the animals. So I'm not sure what was going on this year.
Well, our bigger fair here is like in Springfield, Missouri. And for quite a few years, it's the first, starts out the first week of August. And it's always so damn hot. And like people's petition, like move it a month earlier, a month later. And they just refuse to. And so their crowds have been dwindling over the years because, it's the hottest time of the year.
Yeah, and the games and ride ticket scheme is a little bit frustrating because you buy tickets for the rides, and the rides take multiple tickets, but they're not even numbers. So if you buy 40 tickets and it's 11 tickets per ride, you get 3 rides and you're left over. You've got tickets left over and not enough to do anything with.
And you can't ride. Be darn.
And you can add more tickets. You can buy like single tickets. That's like 60 cents a piece. But it absolutely should be an even number. It gets a little frustrating, and it's almost starting to feel more like an amusement park rather than a state fair, which is really disappointing. Larry Knopf is out there.
No, the one just across the line down in Arkansas, theirs is always great. It's always packed. They have it later on in the year where it's a little cooler. And theirs is always packed.
And for it's kids weekend, so 18 and under for free. So I only had to buy 2 tickets. There were 4 of us, but so I had to buy 2 adult tickets, parking, ride tickets, all together, and then spent a little bit of cash on food. Probably spent $400 or $500.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Nope.
Wow. I mean, it surprised me you have to pay parking too. Like we never have to pay any of that, but
Yeah, parking. And I did notice too, because usually as you're driving up there, everybody who lives around there will have parking in their yards, but
Yeah.
I think either the county or the city must have cracked down because nobody had parking in their yards this year. And so it was $22 to park at the fair.
wow.
And then there's like some reserved parking, which was up close. It's like 50 feet closer than where we parked. That's like $50.
Wow. Man, that's just crazy.
Yeah, and then the food prices are really high. There, I noticed for a bottle of soda, it was one place had it for $6.50.
Wow.
And I can kind of see, needing a little higher prices to do, basically you're doing a remote, if a restaurant is doing a remote restaurant, to do it at the fair, it might cost a little more,
Yeah.
but it's really expensive. That's why, it said the overall feel is starting to feel more like an amusement park rather than the state fair.
Hmm.
And it runs for a month now. It used to be 2 weeks, 2 weeks in the fall, and then they'd have like a 1 week spring fair. But now I think the spring fair goes for 2 weeks, and then the fall is like a whole month now.
Man, somebody's making some money.
Well, unless they're walking around with like big ass golden watches, then they're probably just slowly ending, right? Being priced out.
I'm not sure.
Well, I have heard since the shutdown, it's harder and harder to find like the carnivals that come to the fairs. But did you know a shortage of maybe rides and carnies or anything?
Ride wise, it was pretty much the same because it's always Fathoms or Funtastic. I think Funtastic does that.
Like they bring stuff in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all of ours are. They bring everything in.
Because I think the two that we would see that would come around here was Fathoms of Fun and Funtastic were the two different kind of carnival organizations. But usually at the fair, it'll be the Funtastic.
Do they have any shooting games or anything like that?
I think so. I know I saw a crossbow one. I didn't go up to it and look at it, but just walking around, I saw the booth. It said crossbow on it. Because usually there's like shoot the star where you got to shoot all of the star out. I didn't see it, but so I'm not sure if it was there this year or not. And in the past, they've had like paintball, a small kind of paintball course.
Shooting each other or what?
Yeah. But I didn't see that this year.
Well, the one down in Arkansas, they literally have like a rodeo and all that stuff going on.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now,
there's
Right.
rodeo and concerts too.
yeah. Yeah, Springfield has the concerts and stuff like that, but then in Arkansas, and these aren't state fairs, they're just county fairs. But yeah, they have maybe a few singers, but mainly like rodeos and a lot of that stuff. And like they have 4-H is a lot bigger down there. So they have like the, animal shows, and prizes and stuff. And
Vulcan Rumble said, I'm in Boston. It is cheaper to fly in for the day from New York than it is to park at Fenway, ballpark for a game.
Wow.
So, did they have the petitions there at the gun show for the Massachusetts?
Yeah, the parking for the Mariners games to park in their garage. This was a few years ago, but they were up to like $50-$60 to park in the garage for a game.
I'm assuming that, like Wilkins said, COVID destroyed the entertainment industry. Did they, or did phones and people caring more about looking at their phone than going around and doing stuff in real life? So did prices kill parking, or did Uber kill parking? Because I bet you tons of people just Uber to places now instead of parking.
I don't know. That's a good question. So I know when we first started going to the Mariners games, I would park in their garage because it's secure parking in Seattle. You know, I knew I didn't have to worry about my car. But when we first started going, it was probably back 2000, early 2000s. And I was probably paying like $15 to park, something like that. And then just slowly, you know, every year it would go up a little more. And then kind of the parking, you know, I showed up at the parking and they're like, you know, $50. Like, fuck. That, and then there's a whole ticket scheme, which just, you know, pissed me off, where you couldn't get good seats unless you went to the secondary market like StubHub, which meant they were selling them to StubHub. So, you know, that's when I kind of had enough. It's like, I'm not going to go anymore. Because I used to be able to buy, you know, I would get pre-sale notice. So before the tickets would go on sale officially, I could buy tickets, and I could get tickets that were in the first or second row along the first baseline. Well, you can't anymore. You're in, you know, in those sections, you're kind of the back half of that, and they're, you know, $80 or more, up to $120, something like that. So I, you know, had enough of it.
You guys have any minor league teams around there?
There is the Rainiers, which is their AAA team, is in Tacoma, and it's, you know, like 45 minutes south of Seattle. And it's fun. I've been a couple times. They used to be the A's minor league team, and then Seattle bought them. And it's been a few years since I've gone, but yeah, there is there. And then there's the Aqua Sox, which is AA. Can't remember if it's single A or double A. And I think there's one other team, Everett Aqua Sox, and there's one more minor league team kind of in the area, and I can't remember which one it is.
Well, when they moved the St. Louis Cardinals, their minor league, to Springfield, Missouri, the Springfield Cardinals, you know, they built a new stadium and all that, and man, they really did it right. You know, free parking, ticket prices are down low. Most usually, if you know somebody or, you know, catch a radio station, you can get in for free. But, you know, they have playgrounds there for kids. I mean, it's just like, it's a lot of fun and really good baseball experience. because you can take the whole family
Yeah.
and not spend a bunch of money, and it just, and of course anybody that's injured or whatever has to come down from the St. Louis Cardinals. That's where they're playing at. And so you get to also see some big names there sometimes. So
Yeah, back when they were with the A's, with the Oakland A's, you could get free tickets all over the place. So my friends and I would go to the games, and we'd have stacks of tickets just that we got for free. Mr. Bob said Ticketmaster put me off concerts. I spent more on their BS fees than the cost of their tickets. Yeah, they got sued over that. It was a class action suit, and the only problem with class action suits are the lawyers make all the money. Oh, Mr. T. Webbs.
I heard there was a class action suit from the viewers of this show against the producers of this show for the lack of bracket availability. Been sold brackets at every show, and I don't get brackets very rarely.
Turns out the bracket went off prematurely. Nobody pulled the trigger, fans the hammer, nothing. It just went off. It was a terrible bracket accident.
I cannot comment due to the lawsuit. Sorry.
That's why he's saying lawyers make all the money.
What you got coming up, G Webs?
I'll probably be awake for a while since I just woke up like 5 minutes ago. Nothing. Nothing good, at least. Almost. Now I plugged Brooke's show on Saturday. It's worth listening to, and if you don't, please share it. It needs a lot of help because it talks about suicide, and the algorithms don't get it.
Gary, can you grab a link for her? Are you back, Gary? Are you there?
I can grab it.
No, I'm still gone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll grab a link.
Yeah, Brooke Cheney, she's an awesome lady. And her Saturday suicide prevention, and she's also a trainer, instructor. And she's just an all around really nice lady, awesome person.
Yeah, she is.
So she's worth checking out. Check out her channel. She's got two, and so whichever one that Gary's going to drop, check that one out, and that'll probably lead you to the other one.
Great start shooting school. One of them.
Barbecue. You got anything coming up?
I'm going to be making some videos here. I'm going to try and pop a few out this weekend. Well, I mean, record them at least. The kids are back to school. However, due to the tech issues that I was having, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, when you fired up the mouse party late. That might have been a Saturday's chat. Either way, until I find a new board to do my live shows with, those are going to be the reboot of such a thing is going to be on hold for me for the foreseeable future, but I do plan on making some short little videos and whatnot. So yeah, appreciate the invite.
I appreciate you being here.
You mean like you won't go live until you have a board telling you what to do? Like a board of people that Overwatch the show?
Yeah, like I want them to come up with brackets and stuff, and like the board that I have now is anti-bracket. So
I've been on shows like that before.
Oh, it happens. How about you, Gary? You got anything you want to plug? Anything you got coming up?
I don't know. Maybe.
Any deep, dark secrets you want to confess?
Any deep dark secrets? I like big butts, and I cannot lie.
I was hoping you were going to go there.
You will always. Friday night, Foul Territory. You should watch. You might learn something. That's at 9:00 p.m. Central Time on the Gizzard Gary channel. Love to have you there, and thanks for having me.
Hillbilly, how about you? What you got going on?
Yeah, buddy. Well, we have Guns Bearing Therapy every Saturday night, 9:00 Central, 10:00 Eastern. So if you ain't doing nothing, swing by and say howdy. We'll just try to have a good time over there, and then putting out videos, 2 or 3 a week. So anyway, thanks for having me on, buddy.
I do appreciate you being here. And I appreciate everybody that was in the live chat out there and chatting it up. And if you're watching and didn't say anything, don't be afraid to speak up. Let me know that you're out there because I do appreciate you being there. And if you watch this replay, once again, leave a comment. Whatever we talked about, agree with, disagree with. Do you like county fairs? Do you like big butts? And you cannot lie. No other brother can deny. Let me know. I read all the comments. They are always appreciated. And so there should be an overnight this weekend. I'm not sure what topic. I had a topic and then forgot what topic I had. So hopefully I'll remember. And what's that?
Was it beard oils?
No, I do not use product. I refuse to use product. I am au natural. Other than that, hope everybody has a good rest of the night and go do something good.